Okay, hello there. Okay, now it seems to work. So we're here at the Bitcoin Design Guide Jam session number 51. It also happens to be the community call 51 this week. It's a weird lineup, I think, because one is on a 3 week cycle, the other one's on a 2 week cycle now. But here we go. I don't know if the meaning 51 has any meaning here. Just put the Area 51 image in the background for fun. And welcome all. I put together a quick notes document, put in a few things here that I already shared. Um, so we have our milestone to go through. We have the savings wallet project to go through, and then the community resource projects. Is there anything else you wanted to put in there?
It's not that noisy. Honestly,
There's construction on the left now. Someone's hammering on something too.
I can hear that. It's not super loud. I can just hear like, it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. Anything else you wanted to add to the topics of conversation?
No. I was supposed to work on an idea of the multi-sig discussion we were having, but I didn't get around to it. Wednesday is my Bitcoin design guide working day, so I'll do something about that on Wednesday.
Yeah. Which specific topic was that?
There was the I wrote it down in my notes here. Let me just okay, wait. I'm hopping over to Notion. Community and guide. Shared wallet scenario. What would it look like? I was supposed to come up with a scenario of a shared wallet, so something could be a bit more substantial. I haven't done anything on that yet, but I will on Wednesday.
Awesome. Yeah, I think it might just be good to write out 5 different ones in there because the final one
Mhm.
we pick will probably has to be in line with the scenarios we pick for inheritance and the other stuff.
Okay, I'll make a note to think of 5 scenarios.
Doesn't have to be 5, just a few different ones that we can choose from
Hmm.
as we finalize things. Okay, cool. Then let's hop in. So first thing at the top is our milestone, which has been going on forever now. Luckily, we did not set a due date for that one. The two things that I really actually just did today on there. So Stain he's super swamped with work. He's at a startup now, which is quite intense. So he said that he might not have a lot of time to wrap things up for the send fee research he worked on and another issue. So I reviewed it. He sent me all the documents he had. I reviewed it, and it's about fringe scenarios. Let's say you want to send stuff, but you only have enough for the amount you want to send, but not enough to cover the fees. How would that be portrayed in US US UI? I don't know about the US, but or also things like I think related is you want to empty out your Lightning wallet, but you have the channel reserve. So outside of the details, I reviewed it earlier and tried to figure out how we could fit it in. So that was my first thing. So we already have a big fees section in the sending page, which I think we could. It's already more than a screen here, like 1.5 screens. I think we can extract it into its own subpage and then add stains, these different scenarios in there because we'll have more space. And then we'll just have one dedicated page for fees that we can reference from anywhere else. And it will cover Lightning and will cover Unchained and all the different scenarios. So that would be my proposal right now. And then if everyone's okay with that, then I would go about putting a draft together, PR together, trying to merge Stain's documents with the content we already have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. Because that would, I think that will also be helpful in the core app design when we get to the send screen, because we need to think through all those. Second one was the wallet selector case study, for which I created a PR earlier. That Google Doc has been floating around for a few weeks as well. and now it's a simple UI pattern. I think the topic of inter-app, inter-website communication is really complex. You have different libraries, different standards. You have, I don't know, just things operating systems provide and web share APIs and stuff. But this is just about this UI pattern. And that's why it's a case study, because it doesn't really create, there are no unique designs in there. It just gathers information that's out there in the wild and tries to explain this pattern and why it's being used. Uh, and it has two Nostr clients in there too, or two examples. Like this one here is Plebster, which is a pretty nice one. And then at the bottom, it has some references to other technical uh, techniques that could be used. Yeah. So, any thoughts on this one?
Oh, I did take a look. I was trying to figure out how to suggest one change, but I couldn't figure out
Okay.
GitHub and my desktop code editor. It was something so super small. It's that the title was in the what do you call it? In the menu, in the side menu in the guide, the title would just have the second letter caps, so that it would be the same as all of the other case studies. Something really, really tiny.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I don't know. Like Blixt Wallet is a product name.
Yeah.
The page and experience sounds like it could be a movie too. But wallets, I don't know. Everything else, all the other things, they follow the sentence case. So
Hmm.
I would keep it lowercase. It,
Yeah, well, that's fine. No, that was the
yeah.
only small thing that I noticed. But other than that, it looks absolutely good to go.
Is that an open PR?
Yeah, since a couple hours ago. So
Okay, I'll
it's
give it a
linked
review.
in the Google Doc as well here.
Awesome. I'll look at it.
So that's awesome. Thank you very much. So that's the milestone related stuff. Stain also. So that's the bottom two. Mo, we're going to work on the guidelines together tomorrow. Add guidelines on contributing case study. So we'll have a PR probably tomorrow for that one. And then design guidance for purchasing Bitcoin. That's also something Stain worked on. I think I'll try to cover that. Like collaborate with him as much as possible to try to cover that up next after those bottom two here. Then I think that milestone will be taken care of. So that's that. Let's see.
Eddie, you wanted to speak. Feel free to go ahead. Eddie and I actually had a call this morning about the interface that he's working on about join markets. We're gonna do some UX research on that. Feel free to talk, Eddie.
Okay, he
Oh,
says he's fat fingered.
okay. All right.
Um, okay, and then I don't know. I don't. We don't have a ton of stuff here. So we have the savings vault reference design revision. The only thing that I did there was I created. So far, basically, we want to revise not just one reference design, the savings one, but also the shared and also the upgradable one, and then potentially add another one, like the wallet management, multi-wallet management one. So it's quite big, and we've had it just in a Google Doc, but I think we need to start moving that into issues. So I created this issue tracker here, and I'll just keep adding that one as a practical overview of the different things that are happening there. And Michael and I started gathering intel on the complex spending conditions. Michael also set up a call with Liana or Kevin from Liana to talk to them about this, because they're working pretty hard on this. They're making good progress, so they have a lot of insights probably they can learn from. But I don't know, is anyone else working on anything else in this one, or looked at anything, or would like to work on anything? There's a whole big document here. Otherwise, we can really just pick off one topic after the other.
I had a question. Do you think should I jump into the complex spending conditions with you and Michael, and then we work collaboratively on that, or should I do the which was the one. Should I continue with thinking of scenarios for the shared wallet? I'm just wondering if it's if we're tackling two things at the same time.
Um, I depends on what you want to do. I think in practical terms, I'm not convinced we need three people actively working on it. It's probably enough
Yeah,
if it's probably enough if even one person really leads a page like that, and then the
yeah.
others help out and give feedback. Or like, sometimes previously also one person really liked the writing or the research process. Another person was really good at
Mhm.
writing. Another person really loved doing the mock-ups, and then you could split it up that way. Um, but if you're curious about the topic, just join the
Yeah, I am
conversation.
curious about the
Yeah,
topic just because of the struggles that we went through with the shared wallet. So that's the main one, and
yeah,
because I literally have it on my computer, so I
yeah.
have stuff to work with. Okay.
Yeah, Michael, then let's make sure all the conversations we have around it happen in the design guide channel and or issue. And
Sure. Yeah. So it looks like I just reached out back to Kevin and to see whether he has time on Thursday for the complex spending thing, and yeah, the other ones can keep in there as well.
yeah. Yeah, and some of your questions were around, you set up a wallet and it has like this recovery path. Like, for example, if you set up a 2 of 3 and after a year, it becomes a 1 of 3. Like, can you change that afterwards? What are the requirements for it? If there's stuff like in there, well, only after inactivity of a certain time, like 100,000 blocks or so, then it becomes a 1 of 3. And how is that measured? And just the details around. Or can a key also become inactive, right? After block X, it's not active anymore. So just
Yeah,
figuring out
it's
the capabilities.
I'm reading a lot of and discovering a lot of materials, and I really need to probably start with the more technical things to ask, to not to ask too stupid of questions.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. It's a good learning curve.
And there are probably two approaches. One is on try to understand the technical stuff to a point, and the other one is just don't even think about it and try to think about how would people would want to use it, and then see if it's possible or not, or how it could be possible.
Yeah, I usually do the second part, but then I still have to have some kind of understanding in order to talk to kind of more technical people,
Yeah.
uh, because yeah, I think you need some kind of a certain amount of depth, anyways. So I approach it usually more from the dummy user side because that's what I think it will take to make this really work for most people.
Yeah. 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 Same. I think you have to attack it from different angles, and then somehow something comes out of it. And I think those podcasts are also helpful. Like the interview with this guy who works in inheritance for years now, and has just explains what he's seen and what's worked.
Yep.
Yeah, cool. I like that one. Let's see. I think I think that wallet management one would be a fairly straightforward one to get done afterwards. But yeah, let's. This is a big chunky one, the complex spending condition. So it's good to give that time, focus and research time. I would say. Um,
I like your GitHub name, Michael. Rabbit Holiness.
Yeah. It's also my Noster.
Perfect. Really good.
um, okay, and then I guess one thing that I was going to look at with regarding the guide too is just clean out some more old stuff, issues that have not seen any action or interaction, where someone posted something, no one's done anything for a year. It's not related to, I don't know, anything urgent or so or important. Just see if some old stuff can be cleaned out too. If it's important, someone will bring it up again. I don't know. It's always a bit subjective, but it's kind of weird. I don't know. Doesn't feel right to just have these 2 3 year old things floating around that no one cares about.
We also have the collaboration issue, I think, with Blockstream about node management. That also, I feel like we haven't done anything on that for a while. That's in the meta, not in the guide one.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Okay, maybe for the next call, or I'll just take a list, propose it somewhere, see what everyone thinks of it, and then we can act on it. Okay, and then we're already on to the, let's just call them community resource projects. So Mo, you have something around the research kit?
We are live and kicking. The Bitcoin UX Research Toolkit finally has a home. I bought that domain name because I want all sorts of stuff to go on that domain. So I just bought that one. And then, the kit's now live. Time to take it into projects in the community and actually test if it's worth its salt. So it's been fun working on it. And thank you, AI Art, for the header images. I had lots of fun last week with the, what do you call it? With, what's the AI tool that I use? Free Midjourney, generating some header images. So yeah, it's live, ready to do some testing. Hey, Daniel.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm late.
Okay, so what's everyone's understanding of the state of the research kit, and how it came there, what it can do for us, how we can use it? I think that it might be a good conversation to have. So ideally, we can now apply it everywhere, in everything we do.
Well, maybe we should assume that everyone's doesn't have understanding of it, just so we can hear the story and understand.
Okay, I will share a 5-minute. Does anyone else have any idea of what the toolkit is?
No idea at all.
The original idea of it and probably the state of it a couple of months ago. But yeah, no, I would love a 5-minute update.
Okay, Michael, you.
Well, I'm aware since since a couple of months, but I haven't looked at it in real detail. So,
All right.
But I know what a toolkit is, and I know what research is.
You just put those two words together. Well, the toolkit was my first grant, and I didn't spend my first grant working on only the toolkit. There was so many other things I was working on, but the toolkit was built by the community for the community, pure Bitcoin ecosystem, open source style. We built the toolkit in public. Sometimes we had calls where there was only 2 people on the call, but we carried on running with it. And the toolkit's been built out by, I think, essentially about 5 people kind of ran with building out the toolkit from beginning to end. The goal of the toolkit is to help builders in the Bitcoin ecosystem to build more human-centric products. That's just basically it in a nutshell. It now lives on a website. Christoph also contributed to the toolkit as well. I will share my screen. Bitcoin research, no, what is it? Research. Here it is. Bitcoinresearch.xyz. So this is where it lives on this home at the moment. I'll share screen. This is where it lives. I grabbed one of the designs from the UI kit, and it's very practical. The goal is to not make projects feel like research is overwhelming. Instead, it should be easy to use and easy to make a decision as to which research method you want to use. So we, as a group, ideated on what would be the most common questions that teams in the ecosystem would be asking themselves. Are we building the right thing? We're going to launch. What do we do? How do we set up a long-term research process? How do we get buy-in from the rest of the team? How do we come up with solutions? What do we do with user feedback? What are the needs of our users? What are the problems of our users? And basically, if you click in, you get the recipe book to basically, follow the recipe book, and you can, get the answer to your question. And then there's Figma links, there's, step-by-step recipe book style. This was generated by AI art. Had so much of fun, so much of fun with AI.
Mo, I only see the homepage.
Oh,
It sounds
you
like
don't
you're
see?
clicking, but
I am clicking.
okay,
Is
now I
this
see it.
visible now?
Now I see
There
it.
we
Maybe
go.
it was just my screen.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't your screen. So it was just pretty much if you click around in the kit here. So is this now? Do you see? We are going to launch. What do we do?
Yep.
Yeah. So this is pretty much the project's about to launch. What do they do? Okay, we'd suggest doing moderated usability testing. So I think that my favorite part about the toolkit is that these write-ups were not only done by me, so different people did different contributions to writing up different parts of this kit, very much like the guide. So yeah, we're going to now run with this and test it out on projects in the community. And it's good that Eddie's on this call, because Eddie and I had a call this morning, and Eddie would like to test it out on Join Market. So we're going to kick something off early August with testing it out on the Join Market UI. So yeah, time to check if it's actually worth its salt and if it actually does what it's supposed to do. Otherwise, there needs to be changes. So yeah, looking forward to it. That's it in a nutshell. So if there's any projects that anyone's working on, let me know, because I'm ready to test out the toolkit on that. So, and if you do have
Well done, Mo.
toolkit, sorry?
Well done.
Thank
Good
you.
work getting it this far.
Thank
It's been in your mind and on the calls for a while, so it's almost calls for celebration, huh?
Yeah, I
Maybe
think
not
you
yet.
should. I haven't even celebrated it. You have a good point, Daniel. I should celebrate it. You have a really good point.
Yeah, Christoph celebrating already.
Christoph celebrating it. We can drink a beer to it, Michael, when we meet in Riga. Well, Michael and I will be meeting in Riga and in Amsterdam, so it'll be cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Booking ready.
Riga booking right now. Ed, you're joining the beer too, right?
Yeah, it's when you pull up the website, it looks so simple. You're like, how much is there to it? But that's really the right thing. That's it really makes it just feel like a very simple thing that you can do. So I think that's really, really appropriate. And then you dig through, and kind of the complexity automatically comes when you start thinking about which activity is appropriate, how you would even go about it, how it applies to your project. So I think it's really good format. But of course, the real test is always will people, how do others respond to it?
Yeah. Right now, I have my own biased opinion, so I need to get it into projects and actually get them using it and see if it does what it's supposed to do.
It's awesome.
So
And the other thing that we talked about before too is now how do we link to this from the guide?
Yeah.
For example, let me where's my browser here? Okay, here we go. So we have our getting to know your users. Oh, we have a conducting research page here. So there we go.
Oh,
Several
perfect.
pages, user personas, common user flows, all kinds of places that this could be linked to. That would be very appropriate. And that would also, cross-linking back and forth gives people all the right tools they need at the moment. And the same thing applies to the code library projects as well, as we get to that later. So do we have an issue for this already?
To link up? No, we don't actually. No,
I mean,
I have it
it's
on
really
my
just a
to-do list.
content review and just adding a few links, maybe a sentence or so here and there, probably not more.
I have it on my to-do list, but we don't have an issue up for it. But it's on my list of stuff to do.
Okay. How about I just create one? How to link the research kit Um,
Happy to hear you'll come to Riga, Eddie. Are you serious or are you joking?
No, I'm serious. It was planned, and I have other contacts, and I'm really looking for flights right now.
Really? Oh, super nice.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
I
super
don't have a ticket yet. Maybe I can figure that also out, but the flight is the most important part.
good. Good stuff. Meet you there then.
So looking forward to.
okay, cool. I created an issue for it. Awesome. What's going on here? And there's already a link up there, so we don't need a second link. Okay, anything else on the research kit? Any discussions you want to have? We're really good on time. We have plenty of time to talk about if you'd like.
I do feel like in terms of my own personal planning, like I'm going to be testing out the UX Research Toolkit on Bitcoin Core. I'm going to be testing it out on on Join Market. I'm also going to be testing out the Bitcoin UX Research Toolkit on the Bitcoin UX Research Toolkit. So I feel a bit like I need to be a bit better with maybe think about planning and do things more in sprints. And my question also is, how would I incorporate all these different sprints into the kit itself? I don't know. Just, would I do them as case studies? I have no idea at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. Let's say trucks are driving by. I hope you can hear it. But if, let's say you take the, I don't know, research repository approach, or you do that for one or two projects, you just write up how you did it, how it was for them, what their need was, like just a simple case study, and then link out to whatever they came up with. So that adds a lot of extra meat to and validates all of those different techniques. So that just seems like a logical extension of the content.
Yeah, it feels like the proof of work is going to be a big thing in getting projects to actually believe that it works. So yeah, that's basically my goal with the kit moving forward. Take it out into the ecosystem, run with it in projects, and see how it works. Yeah. So if anyone wants to contribute to the kit, it's fully open to being contributed to. I think next steps would be, it's built out on Framer at the moment, and Framer is not a platform that's very open to anyone contributing. I don't want the toolkit to feel like it's written by me for me, and I'm the only person who has access to the content on it. So I'd eventually like to move it over into a live website where people can contribute. I just don't know how I would do that, and that's something I'd like some help on. If anyone has any ideas on the development side of things, I'd please reach out to me because I'd love some help there.
I'd be curious to take a look at that. I've been actually hearing a lot about Framer and stuff like that, and I think unless I'm confusing it with another framework, I think there's like some ways to kind of like integrate it with developer tools and stuff like that, so that like designers can build it or whatever, and then like developers can jump in and add other features and stuff. So I don't know. It might be a way of exploring that. I don't know. Also, I mean, they must have some kind of like way that you can grant a user to collaborate, access to collaborate on the project with you.
Mhm.
Not quite as seamless as the GitHub pull request system where anyone can open a PR, but yeah, I'd be curious to learn more about this platform.
There it is here. There seems to be this handoff. I don't know if you can see my screen. Oh, share this tab instead.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
there seems to be this option to hand off the design, but I just need to figure out how that's done. Apparently, you can just export this code somehow.
Yeah, I think it can be like converted into like React code or something like that. But I
Yeah,
guess we would have to explore the implications of that, because we wouldn't want a scenario where, like, because this is kind of convenient that, they have this nice visual editor. So I'd be curious, like, if converting it, like making it ready for handoff and converting into code, does that make it so that the design file like can't edit the site anymore? Does it permanently become like a React project at that point, or is there kind of like a two-way link? Something we
yeah.
should do maybe.
Sorry, guys, I just have to step away from my computer for 1 second. There's someone at my door. 1 second.
I think also Framer has more this Figma collaboration model, I think, where you can invite other Framer users to work with you. But that's, I think it might be that that's a paid feature, and probably that doesn't scale as well as GitHub does.
A lot of our design guide collaboration happens in Google Docs and in Discord chats, and then towards the end you get into GitHub, but before that a lot of stuff happens elsewhere. So there could be a situation. I mean, like no one should have to feel blocked just because they cannot get into this visual editor here.
Yeah.
Kind of interesting.
It also has some CMS tooling, so you basically could just also write up the texts and content structure, and then somebody could just enter it into Framer. It's also.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. I think there should be a way to export it just from Framer. Hopefully, the code, the CSS.
And while you were away, Mo, we were talking about, Michael brought up that, there's some kind of like Figma, like collaboration stuff in there too, but it might be paid, but that tooling is there.
Okay, to kind of make it into a live website.
Well, and also just like how Figma like lets you, like share a file, and then you can, like, you and I can be moving our mouse cursors around in the same file. I think he was trying to say that the Framer may have a similar feature.
Yeah, I think you can work together on the same file, but I don't know about the pricing, and I don't know about the the limits of this.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's the next step. So yeah, if anyone knows how I can build that up in a live contributable website, I'd love some guidance on that. No urgency for doing that, but definitely in the next few months, I'd like to do that. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. I'm excited to see all these real life case studies and how they pan out and how people respond and what they're going to do afterwards and if it influences the type of products we see. Interesting. Okay, if you want to stop sharing your screen, you're more than welcome to, or you can keep on sharing it. Next on the list is UI kit. So I've been revising all of these screens here because a lot of them were outdated. Some hadn't been updated in 2 years. So it's a lot of exporting and cleaning up and stuff. And then I'll switch to Figma real quick. Where is it? So this is work. Yeah, so it's a lot of component cleanup. I'm starting to switch stuff to variables, which is they announced last week. So if you want to change some stuff around, like some of these variables, they're just numbers. They're applied all over the place. You can change them in central spots. I'm working on a custom plugin because I realized there's a bunch of functionality that's easily served via a plugin. Let me make sure you can see this. Like here's custom plugin. I select the screen. I press dark, and I can just toggle between dark mode and light mode. Or there's some very more convenient stuff, like I want to find unstyled text, which then helps me as a maintainer of the kit, because ideally there's no unstyled text. Everything uses styles, right? Then there's other stuff like the component insights, which analyzes the whole document in all frames and all instances, which is like 12,000 in the document right now, and tries to find issues for cleanliness. Because if that's not the case, then you might get this kit and you might change your color and change your text, and only half of the screens and components in the site updates, because the other ones are referencing something in this another document or something that was deleted or so, and then it's just not useful. And Figma UI does not have anything to help with that. And I was also wondering if we can put stuff in like format Bitcoin amounts. If I could just, type in some amount. Let's see, does this even work? Kind of works. Then it formats it to different, and then you could just easily copy paste it or insert it. So bringing an actual, I was also wondering if you could have a guide browser in there. And something that would be cool would be if, let's say, I'm here in this screen, I click it and it pulls up a page in the guide. I don't think that's possible because of like iframe embedding and all of this stuff. But I'm trying through this plugin, custom plugin, that's like your helper along the way, trying to figure out if we can bring these things closer together. So
maybe it could have a link at least. You don't have to show all the content, but maybe it could bring in a little link to the right page.
Yeah, so that's what I have with these explainers here at the bottom. So the way this works is that
already done.
So let's say the way this works is that I create a screen, it has a certain name, and I create an explainer box component instance with the same name. And then I type in some information, I create a link, it goes to the design guide. Then I select these, then I press prepare for export. Then it takes a little bit. Then I have these export screens ready here. I can just press, like all the settings are applied, I press export. And it gives me this JSON object with all text that's in here, name, title, description, all of this stuff. And then I copy paste that into the site. And then that becomes which screen, which user flow was I just looking at? That was the first one. What's it called? Onboarding. Nope. Cloud backup. I think that's the one. And then that exact information is used here. Like you see the title, description, user flow, screens, and links back to the guide. So and then you can just click through here, through the whole experience. So that system of with this help component here or info component. Let me switch over. So that works both as documentation in the UI kit and on the website then, because of this export system. Yeah, there are probably 1,000 ways to make this more complex, but I feel like this is the limit of the complexity that I can personally keep in my head and actually work with. So yeah, just trying to, after BTC Prague now, trying to get back to cleaning things up and moving things forward.
But for dark mode, are you replacing the usage of the lights plugin with that custom one?
It's the exact same logic. It's the lights plugin. So I'm gonna rant for just 1 minute here about Figma stuff. So they announced dev mode and variables and variable modes.
Yep.
But as you know, they have specific features in UI buttons are now locked behind paid plans. So you have to know what in the UI will require you to pay. So if you want to use variable modes, which they now recommend using for these light, dark modes, pink modes, whatever you want, then you have to put it in a draft, and then you have to pay for it. Same if you like, inspect is now gone, and now there's dev mode, which is free for this year, but afterwards you have to pay. If I put it in a team, then I can only have 3 pages per document, or if I pay. As soon as I put this in a team, then we're easily at like $200 per month, which just makes no sense. So yeah, I'm staying with to ensure that anyone who uses this can use it for free. And it's not an Adobe thing. This foundation was set pre-Adobe, this payment stuff. And I've actually sent a video to them about this stuff when they first came up with it. So but I mean, no matter what, it is what it is. And dev mode goes into paid plans, so there's no inspection anymore next year. That's freely available. So we're actually losing stuff. So I'm trying with the kit, I'm trying to keep everything for free. Anyone who wants to use it, that's why the plugin also helps. All the foundational stuff you can use for free. People can pay to upgrade to advanced features if they want to, but they don't have to. And I also feel like it creates a better opening for Penpot to potentially come in and just do very basic open collaboration and stuff. And then hopefully we can switch over at some point. Because I do feel like it's very clear the direction that Figma is going. And there doesn't seem to be, like the way that we collaborate just does not seem to be considered for advanced usage. For basic usage, yes, but for advanced usage, which is what we're doing, there does not seem to be space for that.
Yeah. Makes sense. It's interesting that like the collaboration is always where all these tools make their money. It's like they it's not on the like features that the product does in terms of like what it can produce or generate. It's always when you want to get other people involved, that's where the price tag comes in.
Yeah, and to be honest, I pay for Adobe Creative Cloud because for a decent amount I get like 20 professional, like world-class products included for that. But I cannot see how you pay for one project for 3 people like 3 times that amount for one tool. So I would be fine saying, let's say, or UIKit, I pay a certain amount every month and everyone can use it. But it's the intensity, that how high that number is. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It's not paying in general, I would say, to me. Yeah. Okay, anyways, enough rant. So anyways, UIKit's moving forward. Eddie, Chris, and I are having a call, I think tomorrow or Wednesday, maybe Wednesday morning, 10 a.m. German time, about all this stuff if you want to hop in, learn in more detail. But otherwise, just gonna try to keep it move it forward. And another thing, I guess, which leads us to the code libraries would be I haven't done anything on that, but the tighter integration with the code libraries. So you take the kit, you design your stuff, you have the matching code library with it. I don't know, Daniel, if you want to pick up on that.
Yeah, it's probably a good time to talk about that. Not a huge amount of progress since last time, but we currently have, I did put together a little doc. It's linked at the bottom, but doesn't really contain that much at the moment. But some thoughts about if we now cover different platforms, what are we looking to kind of coordinate between the different platforms, and various things, right? Like basics, and some questions at the bottom that we don't really know the answers to yet, like at what point is a library kind of mature enough to be promoted or mentioned by the group or the community, those sort of things. But the initial stages is basically like to try and figure out what should common ground be, and then work with the people that have already made libraries or want to contribute to try and bring them closer to that point where they kind of feel like a group of packages, just the platform is different. So I've reached out to, so I personally contributed a tiny bit to the Swift library, which was already started. I don't think there's been much activity since then. I also started a Flutter library, which then someone popped up and said, "Oh, I've been building one as well." So I'm trying to coordinate with that person, but have not heard back on my DM for a while, but I'll ping them again. So yeah, we're at the stage of like there's a direction. I'm trying to coordinate things, but it's not yet coordinated. That's where we're at. That's the quick summary.
I'm trying to think about whether it's best to try to architect this from the bottom up, or just try to get a scrappy thing together and just get it in people's hands that actually works, but in a crappy way, and then work backwards towards completeness.
I think it's more the latter, although this document may indicate that it's bottoms up, but it's not, right? Like we have stuff, so we have the scrappy version. This was more trying to take a step back, right? Like, okay, if we had started the other way, what would it look like, and how do we kind of get the things we have already closer to a state like that? Because the sooner you get kind of some of those ideas across the better, I guess. I would say that usage overall of the existing packages today are probably very limited, potentially almost just limited to the people who created them. Or one magnitude more, but I'd say that we're, if we change stuff, it's not going to break too many things.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you think LDK and BDK are a way more complex type of things, but it took, and I think they underestimated the complexity, but it took them years to get it to a good state, and now they're working super hard to work with projects and get it implemented and all of that. I don't think it's going to take years here, but it will take a certain amount of presence and continuous pushing forward.
Yeah. So that's the current state of that, and I think next on the list might have been the BDG wallet. Is that right? Yeah, more or less. So you mentioned LDK, and LDK Node is a recent sub-project of that, which is meant to be more of a quick start version of LDK with a lot of presets and kind of options kind of predefined to work well for, say, a mobile wallet or something that is meant more for the consumer side of things, like an app. And I recently tried to update to the latest version of that, which is kind of almost it's the first official version. And that's going fairly well. But on Friday, when I last tried, like my computer was full of ghosts. Like, I would build the app and it would behave differently every time. So I'm not quite sure what's going on. It doesn't feel stable, but I'm not sure. I don't think it's their problem, but it might be something in my house, outside my window. I don't know. Something is interfering. So yeah, that's where that. But once that transition is done, that's kind of the base, the sort of under the hood stuff done for then moving forward with more of the UX and completing screens and making sure sending and receiving is working. Of course, I'm also doing some experimental stuff there with just-in-time channels. So everything is a little bit cutting edge and a little bit fragile, but yeah, moving on.
So I think Matthew, who created the first Bitcoin UI kit library, he got a grant for doing some LDK BDK. I just saw it on Twitter, and he's supposed to, well, not supposed to, but part of his thing is to help with the mobile development of all this stuff. So I would assume, and I feel like I also saw that ThunderBiscuit is working on some mobile app, and it feels like there's all this overlap now coming in, and that
Yeah.
would be good to sync with them as well. Have you seen any action there, or talked to them, or know what their plan is?
Funny now that you mention it, I mean, this might not be true, but like I was talking to a person that was using LDK Node in Swift, which could be Michael, but given that everybody on Discord have funny handles, I did not put the two together. So I need to investigate if that's the same person.
Well, I think Thunder Biscuits contributed a little bit to this sample LDK wallet that Connor worked on, and it's called Umlando. That's the one my Summer of Bitcoin student is working on this summer. I'm not sure if that's what you're referencing, Christoph. You said that Thunder Biscuit was working on a wallet.
Yeah, I don't even know. I just I asked something in BDK. I just see all this information, and sometimes I just it loosely sticks in my brain.
He may be working
I think
on
he's
another.
been. Yeah, I think he's been jumping in a bit here, there, and everywhere in different languages, kind of just to make sure BDK is working with everything else, including LDK. But yeah, there's the Umlando wallet as well, which is that React or Android native? I can't remember.
I think it's Android native.
Yeah. So that's another. I'm not yet aware of a Bitcoin UI kit in that's Android native, but yeah, again, that's another thing to try and get ahead of and understand the situation.
Post this. Yeah, I found Matthew's proposal here. So here, Bitcoin Dev Kit, native iOS, Swift apps, integrating, collaborating, design community best practices, NFC. What's CK tab? BDK, LDK Node, Wallet UI, iOS.
Wallet UI is mentioned. Yeah. Okay. That
Yeah,
must be the same.
we need to get everyone in a room. I mean, all these smart brains together should some cool stuff should come out there.
Okay, that's great. I will reach out to him immediately, and because we have been chatting, but not about the Wallet UI.
Yeah, I don't really know how. I mean, I'd like to help too because I work on the UI kit and other things as well, of course. But I don't really exactly know how I would fit in because I don't feel like I have the brain capacity to really be on top of all this library development as well. So I don't know, if you have any ideas, just let me know.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Anything else? We're coming up on the hour. So, Stephen, how's Umlando going? And what can we expect from there?
It's going good. Tanishka has been, kind of doing some work on like who she's building the wallet for. She lives in India, and there's a lot of, just issues with payment applications there. Like, like kind of, it sounds like the dominant kind of payment apps are like Paytm and Google Pay. And so she's looking for ways to kind of, but there's also like it, kind of a dissatisfaction among some of the populace about, some of these financial services and kind of like the lack of transparency about them. So I think she's been trying to like adopt some of those, some of the design patterns from those applications that work really well and that people are used to, but trying to do that with a Lightning app. And she's already put together kind of like some sticky note, user flows for getting the Lightning wallet set up and all of that. And now has some kind of like, wireframes built out. Like, I was just kind of having her start with just some like kind of plain white wireframes just to like get the basic flow set up. And now she's moving into kind of working on some branding and stuff like that for it. And like, fun logo design stuff and all of that. We'll be meeting with Connor later this week too, to just kind of check in with him and kind of get some some new feedback from someone other than me. She's been posting kind of in the channel there on I have a little channel set up in somewhere in the Bitcoin Design Discord. So she's posting some progress there from time to time if anyone wants to see it.
Awesome. Anything to share there in the newsletter on Wednesday? By the way, that's for in general. Anything we should share in the newsletter goes out Wednesday?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think all the most recent stuff is probably posted there in the channel, but I can send you some stuff directly. I can go in there and send you the most recent link.
Awesome.
I was no, Christoph asked exactly what I already added in a line about the wallet in the newsletter, but it would be 10 times better if Stephen would give an update, because it would be much more clear. So we were just thinking the same thing. Your update would be much better, Stephen.
Cool, will do.
Yeah.
Awesome, cool. Do you have a meeting now, Stephen?
No, I actually don't. It's actually a pretty chill day. It's actually a holiday day for me here, so I'm just doing some open source work. Tomorrow is Independence Day for us in the U.S., and Americans love any excuse to do a long weekend. So because the holiday is on a Tuesday, it's really weird. So like my company's off Monday and Tuesday, and then some companies are like working Monday but taking Tuesday and Wednesday off, so it's a little all over the place right now.
As you have big barbecue planned for tomorrow, some fireworks.
Yep. Grill some meat, shoot some fireworks, shoot some guns, all the stuff.
Sounds amazing.
Long weekend, such a weird concept. I've never heard of it here in Europe. Doesn't happen.
Yeah, but you get longer vacations. You get 2-week holidays.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. We have plenty of these things.
But no Independence Day with fireworks and
Yeah, we have no independence.
barbecue.
It's normally some religious thing.
Well, in Switzerland, there is something like that on August 1st. So lots of fireworks on August 1st.
Who did you get independent from?
Well, from the Habsburg people.
Okay, cool. We're on the hour now. How about we're just chit-chatting anyways. So I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks all for tuning in, and we can just continue the chit-chat.
Bye, everybody.